Before we get started, do me a favor, tell me your favorite worker placement game that we can talk about in the comments of this video below, and tell me what you're drinking today. I'll be drinking a chocolate milk with a little bit of whipped cream on top. This video, I'll be telling you my top worker placement games of all time. What makes a worker placement game is simply a game where you have a worker of some kind. It could be a ship, it could be a unit, it could be a soldier, anything that you place onto a location, or the board of some sort, that then gives you something or triggers something. So simply a game that if I put my worker at this location, I then get gold. If I put this worker laying down here, I will get points. It has to be, you get a unit of some kind, place it somewhere to then trigger or get a reward of some kind. Before we get started, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been a part of our channel so long. We've blown up so much recently, and I can't wait to see more of you in our comments going forward. But if you watch our videos and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. Go ahead and put the notifications on so you get all of the updates for our daily videos at 9 p.m. EST every single day. I'm Caravan Dan from Gaming Caravan, and let's talk about my favorite worker placement games of 2025. Starting at number 10, we have Super Boss Monster, which for the record is probably the lightest game on this list by far, because it's a very introductory card game that got turned into a board game with the Super Boss Monster. If you don't know, Boss Monster was the first game coming out in 2015. It's a lot of homages to various video game culture references, which what drew me into it with the pixel art style, because I very much like pixel art. This game is decent enough because you have a good hand, you are the boss monster, you build out your dungeon from right to left. You want to draw in adventurers and kill them to collect their souls. Whoever collects, I believe, 10 souls first or 7 souls first ends the game, and then you want to see whoever wins the game by having the most amount of souls possible. If they hit you, you lose, you get a negative soul, which allows you to get a negative point by the end of the game. Very simple game, very lighthearted, but it's a good way to get people into the field and learn what a worker placement game is and what board games are entirely. We have a place for all my books. Now, this game was a surprising worker placement game. I didn't expect it to be a worker placement game, and the reason why it's on this list is because it's all very uniquely healthy player interaction slots. Now, on your own player board, you're going to have a bunch of different locations you can go to. Now, this feels more like player action selection, because once you go to an action, you can't take the same action twice, which is why they just added a worker placement option, it seems like. However, in the middle of the board, you have a shared board which you're allowed to go to then trigger other effects. You're allowed to buy more books, allowed to get deals, get item cards that allow you to interact with the game in various ways. But what it does uniquely in the healthy player interaction tidbit is, even if someone is on the middle of the board, in the location you want to go to, you can then go to their location and knock them back to the park. Now, all that does is basically you walk in the store. This game's about introverts, so most likely, I'm assuming, it's when you walk into the store, the other player then runs to the park to collect their self, which gives them a resource in the game that is very useful. So simply, this game is a normal worker placement game, pretty light, but also has very uniquely healthy player interaction, which I've apparently heard exists in other games, but I haven't seen it myself, so it's nice to see in this game. I changed it just now while recording the other one because I realized I like it more. We have Champions of Midgard. Champions of Midgard is a very fun worker placement game where you're going to go to locations to then get warriors, get dice, get stronger and stronger to then fight beasts, save the town, go on adventures to the sea. You have to have enough food to go on adventures. You can then get variable player powers by going to the Oracle and maybe getting a different prophecy. You have to kind of push your luck when you go to the ocean, because do I have enough food for the event? Do I have enough warriors potentially to fight this boss fight the monster at the end? Do I go ahead and try to save the town and get positive stuff and give someone some negative renown of some kind? And with the expansions that are very, very necessary, it then gives you a reward for having your players or your dice die, which is very, very necessary in this game. I will not play that game without it anymore, because truly, it's very necessary. So if you like dice rolling games, if you like a good solid worker placement game where you go here, you get this, you go here, you get this, and there's a lot of tension on the board, this is the game for you. It's a nice dice rolling combat, almost push your luck game. I would say push your luck because it is dice rolling, but above all, the nice meat of it is a worker placement game, which makes it number 8 on this list. And we have Honey Buzz. It's a favorite between me and my wife, and there's not too big of an overlap in that category, which makes it pretty solid in and of its own right. In Honey Buzz, the most unique aspect of the worker placement aspect of it is the fact that the slots are never closed, it's just harder to get to. And what I mean by that is, let's say the spot's open. If I want to go ahead and get a certain tile, because this is a tile worker placement game, I will go put 1B at that location. Let's say that gives me $5. If someone else wants to go to that $5 location, they can still go. Instead of placing 1B, they have to put 2 Bs down. The rule is you can put down a worker there, or many workers there, because they're worker Bs, which is hilarious, as long as the stack you place down is 1 B taller than the previous stack, which allows you to have a different use of having multiple workers. In this game, you can have up to like 11 workers bees, but instead of taking multiple actions, sometimes that just solidifies you taking any action as opposed to not being able to take one. Because I've been in the game a few times where I only had 1 or 2 worker bees left, and every single spot had about 2 or 3 bees on there. So I was unable to do an action, so I had to do an early recall just because I didn't have enough worker bees to then stack on top of each other to take another action. So that's the most unique part of this game, but I really do like Honeybuzz altogether. It's a nice market manipulator. It's a great tile placement game, and it's a nice pattern builder, which I realized I should have put it in my pattern building game, but it is too late for that. But again, check out Honeybuzz. Fantastic game, not too expensive, and a very high production quality. People say I don't drink in my videos, but I drink in between the shots. So here you go, me drinking my drink. Fantastic. Now going into a new game, we have Shackleton Base. I just played this game and immediately is now number 5 for my favorite worker placement of all time. What makes Shackleton Base more interesting than other worker placement games is the fact that there are 88 worker placement slots. You can see my video right now. I did a before you buy video with Ed Skill, who owns the game and taught me the game the other day. This game truly, objectively, about 88 unique spots. Now he says there's about 30 worker placement spots in the Shackleton Base main board. Additionally, there's a few on the side, but there's about 87, 88 spots because even though there's only 30 spots on the board, let's say, depending on what color meeple you put down, it changes the purpose of that space. So if I put a blue worker placement down, I'm collecting icons that are along that path. If I'm putting down a red worker, I am now gaining the income. If I put down the other color, I get something else. So it really depends the color you put down. Now, I do say it's 88 because it's a baffling number, but truly, you don't have to consider 88 different possibilities. It's if I'm going for money, I need a red one. So where do I put this one red one? But the fact that there's 88 possibilities is staggering to me. And because of all these possibilities, there are so many different strategies you can do in this game, so many different outcomes you can have. It's very, very tactical. It's very strategic with, okay, I'm here, they took that spot. What's the next best spot I could do? Should I shift my strategy? Should I go for these icons to prepare for the end game? Should I then try to fulfill this contract with this company? A lot of different opportunities you have by having so many different spots, and it's not too overwhelming. There is AP for sure in this game, but truly, it's not a staggering, insanely difficult game to play, but it is very difficult to win. I don't know how I won my first game, and truly, I think it's because all of our brains were kind of broke by the end. So next up, we have Planta Nubo, which is very interesting, and stay with me. It is not technically a worker placement game, and as you know, I love doing this thing where it's not technically this, but it very much has the soul of a worker placement game, and it acts like a worker placement game. The reason why is because we don't have workers, we have tools. So we will all have a shovel, we all have a hoe, we all have a rake, we all have something else. And the rule of this is there are worker placement slots all over the board, right? There are actions you can take. And instead of going onto an action, say I'm doing this action, you'll take one of your tools and put it in between 2 different actions. The reason why you put it in between is because then you can do either option A or option B. And the rule is no single worker slot can have the same tool touching it. So if I place a shovel here next to these 2 worker placement spots, no one's allowed to put a shovel touching those 2 worker placement spots. And it doesn't matter at the beginning of the game, but once you get down towards the end of your action selection and for the worker placement spot, because that's all the worker placement is in the game is action selections that you choose to do. If I know you only have a shovel, and I have my shovel left, and I don't want you to do a certain action because it would benefit you, I could put my shovel on that location. And now since you only have a shovel, that location is blocked from you. It's very interesting how that goes about. And depending on the income that you spend, the resources you spend, you're actually able to do both the actions you're touching. So I would call it a worker placement game because you're then taking your tools, you are the worker in and of itself, and then you have to utilize your tools properly. And I think it's very different than a worker placement. I think it's the soul of a worker placement game, but very different than typical worker placement games, which gives it a spot on this list. Now, number 2, we have Dune Imperium. And Dune Imperium is known for a lot of things, but I would say strongly before almost anything else, it is a worker placement game. It is limited by the deck building nature of what you buy throughout the game, but I would say most strongly it is a worker placement game. You have cards in your hand, you then have to play a card in order to go to a location on that card. The cards have icons. It's either like a circle, a hexagon, or a triangle, or a square. Depending on what you play, you're able to go to any of the locations with that symbol that you have in the card. If there's multiple symbols, your options open up a lot. And it's nice because there's a nice give and take, depending on like, oh, this card lets me go anywhere I want, but it has a really good end effect if I don't play the card and I keep it in my hand. Cards in your hand have different effects, but the reason why I want to talk about the worker placement aspect is because there's so many things to do in this game. Do I want to go for spice? Do I want to go in and get water to then go to this certain location? Because locations have costs. I don't see too many games where locations have a specific cost to it. And this one does a really good job because spices are so expensive, and going to a location with a spice takes a good chain in order to get to that point, but it is very, very rewarding. So I would say that Dune Imperium has this nice game where it allows you to do a lot of different things, everyone has different strategies, and it's a very, very good tension within the game for the worker placement spots, which makes it number 2 on this list. Now, before we get started with number 1, I do want to say this channel needs 1,000 followers on our Kickstarter page by February 2026 in order to keep this channel going. This is entirely user funded, and this is my full-time job. So if we don't hit certain monetary threshold marks, I do have to consider shutting some things down. But I do like doing these daily videos. If you enjoy watching my videos, go ahead and go to the description of this video or go to the comments and go to our Kickstarter page. All you have to do is follow. We need 1,000 followers, and I'm very, very proud to say I'm pretty sure we're going to hit that mark. If you want to be part of that helps us, go ahead and go do that. Thank you so much. Now, going into number 1 game on this list, we have Andromeda's Edge. Andromeda's Edge is number 1 in a lot of categories for me, but truly it is a strong worker placement game, which seems kind of silly to say because it's kind of a war game, but that's what makes it a fantastic worker placement game for me. In Andromeda's Edge, you are placing ships from your field, from your base, and putting it out into the fray to then get items, to get resources, to do certain actions. And then it becomes kind of an area control game because depending on if someone's trying to jump in there to take another resource, you have to fight them. Maybe they want to build a base where you're at. Maybe they want to just take the resource. Maybe they just want to get combat points for fighting you. And no matter what, you really have to consider whether or not you want to fight in this game. So very few worker placement games that I know do these workers actually have contention against each other. And this one does a good job because in my mind, if I send a worker out somewhere, I want that worker to then, you know, stay there. I want them to stay out there and own this location that I'm at. And I do believe that Andromeda's Edge, the combat really does allow you to have an interesting interaction with other friends and other people at the table where it's like, hey, you can go there, but I'm going to decimate you in battle. It's a nice trash talk because maybe they'll beat you in battle. Maybe they have 6 dice you don't even know about in their hand. So it has some very interesting reveal phases, some nice strategy, some nice push your luck where it's like, you know what, you have 4 dice, I have 1 die, but I'm hoping my 1 die is higher than all 4 of your dice. And that happens sometimes. So Andromeda's Edge is my number 1 game of all time. So it's number 1 on a lot of these lists, but I would say this much, it's very valid as a worker placement game. Very valid. Yeah. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for following. If you like this video, go and subscribe and drop a like in this video. Comment below your favorite worker placement game and what topic you want us to do a video on next. I appreciate all of you guys for being part of the Caravan, and I really hope to see you in the next video. But until then, peace, have a great day, God bless, and I really hope to see you at a table soon.